Thank you. And as our colleague over here introduced me, I'm here in my capacity as Chief Executive, Co-Chief Executive of the world's largest live theatre group, a company which is 23 years old this year and started right here in Woking in Surrey. And this afternoon, having spent 35 years, all of my working life in live theatre, I wanted to share with you my thoughts about the power, the extraordinary, unique power that theatre has to make change, to transform. And I think it's on 3 levels that theatre can transform. It can be on a personal, on an individual basis. For me, as a young girl, I was brought up in Nottingham, going to the theatre, the Nottingham Playhouse, home of new writing, wonderful directors, Judi Dench, Jonathan Pryce, great actors in the company. I was fortunate that my mother loved theatre, and my 13th birthday present was to go to see the Royal Shakespeare Company and to see Shakespeare. It was something that's had a huge transformational power to change my life. On another level, it's a huge instrument for change and transformation within a community. We do very few things communally together. We come together for TED events. There's clearly a great need that we have to sit together in a darkened room, that we want to hear what other people have got to say, particularly if it's really interesting learning about bees. And I certainly will go away remembering there are different sorts of bees and the complexities that help your decision making. We need to share ideas and to share stories, to share each other's stories. So on a communal level, theatre is a massively powerful tool to be able to share those stories and to transform people's lives. And also the third area, which is what brings me to Woking, is that it actually has the power to transform on a civic basis, on a community, on a town, on a region. The theatre has those enormous powers to change perceptions and to change habits and to change ways of life. So just looking back to me as a teenager in Nottingham, I loved what happened in theatre because I could relate to it. It made me realise that you could see the world differently. It was, if you like, as a teenager, the shutters fell off my eyes and I thought, gosh, you can, through making people laugh, through making them cry, through making them understand conflict and big issues, that you can actually see the world in a completely different way. So on a personal basis, and as I stood as a 16-year-old on the steps in Nottingham Playhouse and said to my best friend who I spoke to last night, this is what I want to be. I want to be a theatre manager when I was 16. The power that theatre, what had happened on that stage, crystallised in me a vision. And I think a vision in life and having a goal, and I tell this to my kids, I say, think about what you actually want to do, what you want to achieve, where you want to get to, the out there. Think about it, spend some time to enrich it, to colour it in, to make it a picture. Well, theatre turned on that light over there in me, and it meant that I knew that I wanted to make a difference in something in theatre. It took a while to work out exactly what that was, but even at 16 I thought maybe I might have the right skills to be a manager, that I had my picture out there, and that therefore it gave me a creative way, a creative path, lots of different twists and turns to that journey, and lots of different ways of arriving at that dream that was out there, that vision. But the theatre, my experience in the theatre, had turned that on in me. So on an individual basis, very powerfully, that directed the whole of my life. It makes you creative. These are just some of the examples of the variety and different things that on stage that people respond to, and people collectively. It is a collective experience. Very few of us go to church now. I was brought up a mix of being Methodist and Jewish, so I got very strong work and education ethics through my parents and my wider family. But very few of us have that kind of structure in our lives now. But we still have a profound need, whether it's on the football terraces or whether it's in a cinema or whether it's coming to TED events. We need to sit, to listen, to share, to exchange ideas and be together. It is not the same as 24/7 looking at your iPad or your phone. It's real, it's live, it's in the moment, and it's completely different to any kind of digital experience. Which is why I suspect in my profession that live events are burgeoning. They are growing year on year. People actually want to go to live concerts to see their favourite band or singer. They want to go to the theatre. Yes, it's a wonderful thing that you can see Helen Mirren streamed in the audience at the cinemas in Woking, that you can share in that. But actually, most people still want to actually have been there, to have felt it, to have had that unique experience. Here we all are, sitting, looking. Isn't it a strange thing in a darkened space that we actually need to give us that freedom, that we need to not look at each other, but to look as an audience to what's happening on a stage? So, which brings me to my vision. Here I was from being 16, wanting to be a theatre manager, and my creative juices had been set on fire with my vision of where I wanted to get to. And I took different sorts of paths to end up at a moment in my life that my husband, now husband, and I decided we wanted to set up a company that could deliver a vision, that could deliver content, the work that's presented on stage every night, that content would be at the very heart of that business and would drive that business, but that it would be a whole experience, that it would be theatre building, which would be all the whole experience, that little bit of magic that you get when you go and you sit in a theatre and you're captivated by something that transports you, that our theatre, vision statement, making theatre magic, that all of our employees, all of our staff share that passion to create that little bit of magic, the whole experience from when you come into the building. So back in 1992, 23 years ago, having cut my teeth doing all sorts of jobs in theatre, whether it was in the accounts office or in the box office, and my husband trained at Lambda, did stage management, was a lighting designer and a director. Between us, we have pretty much done every single job there is in theatre. So we brought a whole wealth of practical experience to create a tiny company that we had absolutely no idea how we were going to fund it. But we had our vision and our passion, and we were able to raise finance in the way that we would have done for a production. And we bought our very first building and our first regional building, which was actually arguably the biggest challenge. Our very first regional building was here in Woking. And Woking, many of you may have lived in Woking 25 years ago. It's a different place to what it is now. And I would venture to say that the theatre has been part of changing that experience. Woking was, arguably, people said to us, "Are you crazy? Why do you want a theatre in Woking? It's a commuter town. If anybody wants to go to the theatre, they can go up to the West End." At that time, it was not a great place to be in the evenings. There were lots of squaddies who came in, and I remember there was the Road McGaw, the community theatre, and there were some civic halls where there was a bit of a gathering of the community, but it was not well attended, and certainly nobody confessed to actually living in Woking. They all wanted to live in the villages, the Chobhams, or the villages, the West Byfleet that are outside around the town. So we set up our business on the basis of trying to change that. And here we are. These are our company out of Woking, which began to be a huge success. It became a blueprint for actually changing civic change, regeneration, changing town centres in lots of other places. Here you can see a few examples, Stoke-on-Trent being a very good one. The theatre that we took over in the mid-90s, late 90s in Stoke-on-Trent has now become the heart of the regeneration of a very much neglected city centre in Stoke-on-Trent. And it's out of Woking. We have moved into Glasgow, Milton Keynes, Stoke-on-Trent, many, 27 regional venues in the UK. And now our vision has not just gone on to change local cities in the UK, we've actually gone out of the UK. Last year we acquired our first theatre on Broadway. We are changing the whole Broadway theatre experience. We've just acquired our second, and we're about to move into Australia, so that the power of theatre, which started here in Woking, is about to transform the lives of the people in those cities. So thank you very much.